Hey guys, this is Tanya from Hand Lettered and Loved. Thanks for checking out my basic brush lettering tutorial. We are going to go over some basic practice strokes as well as my signature alphabet. And I also wanted to let you know that this tutorial was created to coincide with my brush lettering worksheets, which are available in my Etsy shop. And I will provide the link down below in the description on this video. It would be super helpful to get the worksheet so that you can follow along. Okay, if you want to turn to page 1, there's a few things that I want to go over before we get started. The first thing is the type of pen that I'm going to be using for this tutorial. This one is called the Tombow Fudenosuke. I believe I said that right. This one is specifically the soft tip, which you can tell by this little message here that says -BS. The hard tip one is going to have a BH here. That's how you know the difference. Both are okay to use. I tend to recommend this one though for beginners because the tip is a lot more pliable. It's softer, more flexible, and it's easier I feel it's easier to control. You don't have to use this pen, but you want to use something similar because this worksheet was created with this pen. So you're going to want to use a small tipped pen like this. Another good one is the Pentel sign pen, and I can leave that link in the description as well. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the angle of your pen when you're writing. You want to hold it at a 45-degree angle for the most part. As you're writing, you're going to adjust it. Especially when you're doing your upstrokes, you're going to probably bring it up a little because you're writing with the tip of your pen. But for the most part, you'll stay at a 45-degree angle. Again, same applies for a righty. You're just at a 45-degree angle here. So you don't have to, but I strongly recommend using tracing paper for a couple different reasons. The biggest reason is if you don't use it and you just draw on normal printer paper, you write on normal printer paper, you're going to eventually start to fray the tips of your brush pens or brush markers. You need to always be writing on smooth paper, and tracing paper is really smooth for that. The second reason is for these worksheets, that way you don't have to keep reprinting the pages if you're drawing directly on them. So instead you want to use your tracing papers that you can just keep using the same worksheets. The third reason is the tracing paper is actually really smooth, and it's the pen actually glides a lot nicer on it, so it's helpful to use it for that reason too. So let's get started. I guess probably the biggest important thing, or the most important thing I should say, the key to this script calligraphy style lettering is the contrast between your thick and thin strokes. That's what gives it that calligraphy style. And that's the most important thing to remember. So the rule that you want to remember is that all of your upstrokes are going to be thin and all of your downstrokes are going to be thick. So upstrokes are thin, light pressure, and downstrokes are thick. You put a lot of pressure on your pen. And if you remember that rule, then you'll be set. So these are really important to practice because each stroke makes up the letters of the alphabet. The first one here is going to be your upstroke. You want to go really lightly up. So there's less pressure on your pen, and it's going to be a thin stroke. The downstroke is more pressure on your pen, which creates that thick downstroke. More pressure for a heavy downstroke. The first one here, you're going to go light pressure for your upstroke, and you're going to transition into your downstroke, which is heavy. So light, transition into heavy. The next one is actually heavy first, and then you're going to transition to your light. Heavy downstroke, light upstroke. This one is light to heavy, light to heavy, and light to heavy 3 times. So these might get a little more difficult when you're doing the whole thing in one stroke. but it'll take some practice. The next one is light to heavy, but you're just varying the heights here. And then you have your O, which you want to start over here on the right-hand side. You want to start with an upstroke. So you're going to come up and then transition to your heavy and back up again. So light to heavy, transition back up to light and connect it. And the last one on this page is the letter L. It's an upstroke, transition to your downstroke, and then back up again. Okay, so that's it for the first page of practice strokes. The second page here is, it doesn't have any of the grayed out strokes for you to trace over. You just want to do it on your own. This is after you've practiced the first page for a while. So turn to page 3, and this is the second set of practice strokes. I'm just going to turn my page around here. So here we have the letter E, and this is an upstroke, transition to a down, and then back to an up. Our next one is an E to an L. And you're going to want to do this in 2 different strokes. So you want to stop after the E and then start your L like that. The next one looks like kind of like an F. So it's an upstroke, transition to a down. And then you have what looks like a J. This is kind of like a U here. Up, down, and then back up. So I feel like this is a good time to talk to my fellow lefties about the infamous lefty smudge. It took me a while to get used to kind of holding my hand or resting my hand a different way so that I don't smudge. And I think what I tend to do is I start off with my hand next to the word like this, and you know, I'm writing normal, and then as I kind of get further along where there's a possibility of a smudge, I tend to kind of move my hand and rest it above the words. So it kind of stinks because you almost have to get used to like practice writing both ways almost. So it takes a lot more practice for us lefties, unfortunately, but that's just how it is. Everybody's different. I know that there's some people that will turn their page so that, you know, you kind of almost write sideways like this. I don't personally do that, but I know that it works for some people. So whatever works, go for it. And then, so yeah, so just moving right along. The next one here is the base stroke for an X. So if you add a little stroke there, you kind of have your X. And this next one is the same thing, but just repeated. And then the last one here is a little tough. This one's going to take more practice. So it's the figure 8, and you can start in different areas. For this, I think we'll start here with our upstroke, and you're going to transition to a down, pull it back here, and then down again. This one is a tough one. Okay, and that just about does it for the practice strokes. In the next video, I will be showing you my alphabet, and I'll take you through each letter and how to draw each one. So don't forget to check out my Etsy shop for the worksheets, and I also put a link for my Facebook learning group, which is where I post a lot of these type of videos as well as my lettering process videos. Thanks for watching.